In this video, we're going to talk about the discussion board post assignment. There are going to be 10 different discussion posts that you will complete over the course of the semester, usually one per week, with the exception of a couple weeks where there are going to be two discussion posts. This assignment is designed to help you engage with the course material and apply research methods in a real-world scenario. I've specifically designed these discussion board posts because you will see that each one of them focuses on a specific subset of the topics that we are learning, and each of those topics is a subsection of the broader evaluation proposal assignment that will be due of you as the post-instructional assignment at the end of the course. So for each of these, you're getting an opportunity to learn and digest the material and apply a piece of it and see it applied, and then build what are going to be sort of the skeleton framework or the outline for your final proposal. You may need to make changes and edits based on my feedback over the course of the semester, but the fact of the matter is each of these is going to build on one another to where, when taken collectively at the end of the semester, all of what you have written for the discussion board posts is a very good first step towards being able to build your evaluation proposal final assignment based off of everything that you've built up to that point. So the way that this works is there's going to be 10 different discussion board posts. Each of those posts is going to be worth 5 total points. There are no right or wrong answers. The fact of the matter is, I want you to look at the questions, I want you to engage with the material, and do your best to apply it, meeting the requirements of what is asked of you. What I mean by that is, I want you to thoughtfully explore the prompt and complete all of the different requirements of the prompt. I'm not going to grade at all based off of whether or not you have answered what I deem to be correctly, because the fact of the matter is there are different correct ways to answer a question in terms of applying research design. But if it's a two-part question, for example, and you only answer the first part, you're not going to get the full 5-point credit. If you've answered both prompts, whether I give you a lot of feedback or no feedback and think that your answer is spot on or needs a good amount of work, the fact of the matter is if you responded to both prompts, you will get the full credit, right? So for these assignments, you're going to be engaging with the material, responding to a prompt, and then doing your best throughout the semester to basically apply different research methodology in small pieces to the program that you are going to choose early on in the semester as the templates that you're going to work with throughout the course. So the content for each of these is going to vary. The structure is going to be the same, but the questions are going to vary week to week depending on which module of the course that we are in, because obviously for research methods and hypotheses, I'm going to ask you about developing a research question and a hypothesis. In measurement, you're going to develop a measurement strategy, and it will vary a little bit, right? So each module will have its own discussion board posts. Each of those posts will focus on a different topic. And then in the post itself, you will see on discussion boards, if you look at it in Canvas, you will see there's both a prompt, and then for every prompt, there's an example. The prompt is going to tell you what is expected of you and what you should be doing for that discussion board post. The example is going to take a response that I have created and show you exactly what I am looking for in terms of both what type of a response should be, and then also, because the goal is to help you understand and apply the material, using predominantly the Taiwanese garbage reduction program article and the Chen example, I will then give you an example of me applying the research methodology design subject matter to that evaluation. So you can see both an example of what the prompt response should look like, but then also see how I'm answering those questions based off of an example of evaluation that you have all collectively read and are familiar with. So in terms of participation, I don't have a requirement that you necessarily reply to anybody else's post to get a grade. This is a discussion board post. I definitely highly encourage every one of you to read other submissions from your colleagues, even if you don't choose to reply. One of the things about research methods that makes really understanding this material easiest is seeing research methods and the designs applied in many different scenarios, because fundamentally, right, it's like once you learn how to use the hammer, you can do a lot with a hammer. You can destroy cabinets, you could build furniture, right? There's lots of different ways to use a hammer. The same is true about the way that research methods works. There's different ways to apply measurement. Seeing measurement applied in different ways will only help you be a better understanding user of the measurement strategies that we learn. So I do recommend and highly encourage you to read your colleagues and counterparts. Certainly the goal of this is to also help you build towards the final assignment. So after you have finished your discussion posts, within the following week, I do recommend that you go back in and look, because after I give the grade, I will also, usually if I have feedback, constructive or otherwise, reply to your discussion posts, either within the grading module or on the post itself, to give you some additional feedback. Not necessarily to justify any reduction in your grade unless you didn't answer all the prompts. But the goal is rather than being able to have a discussion live in a classroom, you are going to be able to communicate what you are thinking, and I will give you feedback about what I do or don't think makes sense in terms of refining it, right? With my feedback, you should be able to then get, additional direction to then continue building step by step towards that final evaluation proposal. Because after you've engaged with the material on your own and got my feedback, you can make revisions, and those revisions should help you refine the outline for your final proposal in the course. So the goal is to provide hands-on practice in research design and the application of it. When combined, take all of these posts at the end of the semester. When we get past we get to the last 3 weeks of the course, you should be able to then have the framework and the skeleton of a pretty well put together evaluation proposal for your post-instructional assignment. And you should have, along the way, cultivated skills to design impact evaluation strategies for different public sector programs. So when you get into Canvas, you're going to go to the discussion section. You will see something like this. So this is actually post 1A on program selection. Early on in the semester, you're going to be asked, obviously, to pick a program that you're going to work with throughout the course of the semester. The first part in the top red box, it says requirement. You will see this is the actual post. So it tells you for this discussion board post, you will choose 2 different programs. You're giving a preferred and an alternative. And the goal is to describe a number of things about that program. I give some example programs that are available for you. And then underneath, where the example section is, I have then described in the way that I want you to respond to the prompt 2 different programs. A primary, which is the NIFU garbage reduction program, and the secondary, which is the Homeboys Industries program. That is one of the potential options. You don't have to choose all of one of these choices, but you do have the option to pick that one if you wish. And I describe based off of what is being asked of me in the requirement section. I talk about and answer that prompt as needed. So you can use that example section to then guide the way that you draft your own, knowing sort of what is expected of you in terms of what you should be writing and how it should look. So that is what's expected for the discussion board post. Not every single post is going to ask you the same thing. Most of them are short. This amount of writing, it's a paragraph or 2 at most. They're not extremely long and detailed, with the exception of one, which I would say is maybe about twice the length of this because it's focused on writing a summary of one of the journal articles. But for the most part, you're going to have 1 or 2 of these per week. They're going to be relatively short. We're going to keep you on pace throughout the course of the semester and help you sort of record your thoughts and apply the material, building up and culminating with the final assignment.